So how about this? Over $8,000 off F-150s. That's the XLT trim, that's the Lariat trim, that's the Platinum trim, that's the Limited trim.
Right.
That is the Crew Cab, that is the Super Cab. You name it, Randy Marion Ford. We got it right here in Statesville at a big discount on F-150s. Again, over $8,000 off. Come see us today, I-77, exit 49B.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone. It is time. It is that time of day. It is time for the Scoreboard. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday, everyone. Are you feeling good today? You better be. Because, man, did we have some fun. Maybe not Panther fans. I apologize. It's okay. I'm sad, too. It is a sad Monday. It is probably the biggest overreaction Monday of the year. Week number 1 of the NFL season has come and gone, all but one game, actually. Tonight, Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football game of the year. The New York Jets taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Other than that, every game has been complete so far. And how is your team looking? Well, for the Panthers, it looks like same old, same old. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a long season. Like I said, biggest overreaction Monday of the year. Right after week 1, everybody has a take. Everybody has a hot take on how these teams are going to be. Are the Cowboys really Super Bowl contenders this year? Well, they seemed like it in week 1. Are the Panthers going to be the worst team in the NFL again this year? Well, they seemed like it in week 1. There's a lot of games left, ladies and gentlemen. 16 more games in the season, 17 more weeks to go. Do not be concerned. It's a long season. It's also a long season in the high school football scene. We're going to talk high school, Statesville High, Lake Norman, Mooresville, all the Iredell directional schools, North, South, and West Iredell of high school. We said we would keep an eye on them throughout the year. All these games being played on Friday. It was a beautiful day on Friday. We didn't have any weather cancellations in the area, thankfully. Man, remember a week ago we had games on Mondays, games on Tuesday. It was all over the place because of the weather issue. But nonetheless, we got games in on Friday. And on Saturday, we had quite a bit of college football to watch. Some big upsets. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Oh, no. Oh, no, guys. What happened? How did that happen? Well, Northern Illinois wanted it more? Question mark? We're going to talk about other college football teams as well. Lenore-Rhine, a pretty local football school here, not far away. We'll hear some words from their coach and a little bit of an update on how their season's going. So we'll hear a little bit about the Bears. Also, the NASCAR Cup Series. Yeah, don't forget. Don't forget, NASCAR is still going on Sundays. At least the Cup Series is on Sunday. It is race number 1 of the playoffs complete. And boy, do I have takes. Does everybody have takes? Joey Logano getting the win in race number 1 down in Atlanta. Should he be there? Well, he won a race. He had a mediocre regular season, but you get hot at the right time. You can see that 22 car. He's been fast the past few weeks. Is he a sleeper for the championship? Maybe. He may be. So we got a long way to go. Long way to go in the NFL season. If you're a Panther fan, I do feel bad. You know, it's not good when you go a whole off season just saying, I hope we're better this year. I hope we're better this year. You know, worst team in the NFL. Let's start off, maybe not with a win. It's nice to want to start off with a win, but let's just look decent. Well, down in New Orleans, they had a problem doing that as the Panthers get beat. They got wiped off the map there. 47-10, the final score in New Orleans against the Saints. I don't have much of a reaction to that. They lost. It wasn't even close. But I did try to help us calm our expectations. Yeah, the Panthers made moves in the offseason. They have a new head coach. Things are looking different than what it's been, but they still don't have the most talented team. I mean, not even close to the most talented team. Bryce Young went 13 of 30, threw the ball 30 times. I mean, when you fall behind early the way they did, you kind of have to throw the ball. 13 for 30, 161 yards, and 2 interceptions without throwing a single touchdown. Miles Sanders, 5 rushes, 22 yards. Chuba Hubbard, 6 rushes, 14 yards. Mike Boone had 4 for 7. I mean, that nobody could get the ball moving here for the Carolina Panther offense. And Bryce Young did not look good. He didn't. First play of the game, first pass of the season. Interception. Oh, man. And you look at this team and you say, they just look out of sync. Something doesn't look right. And then you think back to the preseason and you say, hey, wait a second. The time that they were supposed to use getting ready for the season, they actually spent that time on the bench. And I told you, after the 3rd week of preseason, when they drove down the field on the Bills' defense, their secondary defense, by the way, all the backups, and scored, I was like, okay, pump the brakes here. That wasn't number 1 against number 1. That was number 1 against the number 2. That was basically like the Panthers driving down the field late in the game in the 4th quarter and putting in a touchdown. That's basically what they did in the preseason. When all the backups are all in and the game is over, I wasn't impressed. And now game 1, you give up 17 in the first. Interception, nobody can stop Derek Carr. The defense looks like a mess. And now, reports are that Tarek Brown, the defensive tackle who broke records last year for the most tackles by a defensive tackle in NFL history in a season, he may be out for the entire year. The whole year. I mean, it's definitely tough. And then you think about the fact that they trade Brian Burns away in the offseason. They have injuries in the secondary. The defense is depleted, man. And we talk about the offense. We say, you know what? The offense needs to step it up. Bryce Young needs to be better. And yeah, that's all fine and true. And really, it is something that needs to be better. But it doesn't help if your defense is giving up 47 points a game. It's going to be a long season for the Panthers. This is not the year to expect them to go to the playoffs. This is not the year to have any high expectations. What we are expecting this year is improvement from pretty much all players on the team, especially the quarterback, Bryce Young. And I did not see that on Sunday. I mean, it was just a rough game. We're going to get into the high school scene after this commercial break. High school football going on. There's other sports going on in high school as well, some volleyball and whatnot. We'll be talking about the football on the other side of the break. We'll go into high school. We'll go into college, and we'll hear from Lenore-Ryan College on their first week of their season. Stay tuned. You are listening to The Scoreboard. We got a lot to get into on this Monday. Are you happy? September's here. Sports are in full swing. It's going to be a busy week. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Scoreboard. We're back after this.
More of sports director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the comfy low humidity weather hangs around with a cool night on the way under a mostly clear sky. We'll fall down into the mid-50s, outlying spots and farms again, and wake up to low 50s by Tuesday morning. Plenty of sunshine. We're back in the mid-80s. Low humidity, though, keeping our comfort factor up for our Tuesday. We'll start to add some extra clouds in and a low rain chance toward the end of the week. All effects of what will soon become Hurricane Francine in the Gulf. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like ISI Denver.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree Live in Mooresville presents Fortune 5 in concert on Thursday, September 12th. Fortune 5 won the Battle of the Bands this past spring and now makes their debut on the Langtree stage. Event time is 6:30 p.m. with music powered by Waves Entertainment starting at 7. Grab your friends, family, and lawn chairs. Enjoy the shopping and dining options while at Langtree. Don't miss the music of Fortune 5 this Thursday at Langtree Live. This Friday is the next edition of the Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series. Downtown Statesville offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors. This week's concert features the Camel City Yacht Club, 5 musicians devoted to bringing the finest smooth rock of the 70s and 80s to you. Friday After 5 is held in downtown Statesville on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music this Friday in downtown Statesville. The WSIC gang is back at Micaiah's in Mooresville for Trivia Night Tuesday, September 17th. Grab your squad, form your team, or come play solo and join WSIC on-air personalities as we gather for a fun game of trivia. We'll see you September 17th at Micaiah's in Mooresville. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway September 20th through the 22nd for the Carolina Nationals. When the temperature cools down, the excitement heats up at the Bellagio of drag strips. Every ticket is a pit pass, giving fans unmatched access to the drivers and crews who power the NHRA's thunderous 11,000 horsepower machines to their limits. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Your Tuesdays just got a lot better. The Good Soul, a feel-good show that dives into the stories of extraordinary people, is headed to WSIC. Host Patty Alvarez brings a sit-down, fun conversation to the airwaves to give you an early week pick-me-up. The best talk all day long.
WSIC.
Local starts here. Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome back. Segment number 2 today on the Scoreboard. 844 Studio 4 is the phone number if you have something on your mind that you'd like to talk about. I'm here. Let's call it 41 more minutes. That's how much time you have to be a part of the program. We're going to get into high school football. Some schools to keep an eye on this year. Man, how about Statesville High School? Talked about them a little bit last week. They went into Lake Norman. They went down to Mooresville and beat the Lake Norman Wildcats. And now they beat South Iredell High School by a score of 6-0. A shutout victory on a very defensive game. By the way, South Iredell, that loss knocks them to 1-2 on the year. But for Statesville High School, they improved to 3-0. And we talked about this season so far. They beat Alexander Central 36-21. Lake Norman, they beat him 28-21. That was on that rain delay makeup. And then over the week, on Friday, on the road again in South Iredell's stadium, beat them 6-0. Now Statesville heads to North Lincoln. Yes, 4 consecutive road games to start the year there. And North Lincoln, they actually play East Rutherford this weekend and then Statesville next weekend. So You got a little bit of time to prepare for this one if you're Statesville, but a great start to their season, starting the year 3-0, going into a bye week, no game scheduled this week, and then they're on the road against North Lincolnton. Statesville is one of those schools that you're going to want to keep an eye on in the 3As this year. Last year was Hickory High School, man. They had a really good team, and I kind of expect them. We talked to Langston Works last week. We expect them to have a good year this year as well. They start off with back-to-back shutout wins. Does Hickory 48-0 against Hebritton High School, 34-0 against Newton Conover High School, and now they play Cox Mill High School, who has started the year pretty rough. It could have gone better for them. 3 losses, no wins to start the year, and they just recently got shut out 41-0 by West Charlotte. So that's going to be a tough hill to climb there for Cox Mill. But for Hickory, that's a school I could see a future down the road where we see Statesville playing Hickory in a playoff game, maybe late in the playoffs, depending on where everybody gets seated and, the rankings and whatnot. And Matt's preps with the playoff seedings and how it goes. But Statesville High School getting out to a 3-0 start to their year. One of the schools that we said we'd keep an eye on, Mooresville High School. Mooresville football got another win. They're now 2-1 after that tough loss to Reagan went down to the wire. For the second time this year, Mooresville has scored 66 points, and they get their first shutout of the year, taking down West Rowan by a score of 66-0. That was a beatdown. 22 scored in the first, 30 scored in the second, and then they put a couple touchdowns in towards the end of the third and in the fourth. Mooresville is going to be a team to look at. When we talked to Langston Works last week, we discussed their recent trend of getting eliminated in the second round. And we saw it last year. They had a good draw, but they ran into the 1 seed, and they just couldn't get by them. Maybe this year, with all their returning players, they can put together a nice postseason run, but we're looking way ahead right now. Got to get through the regular season first. Mooresville off this week, and then they're on the road taking on Cox Mill High School on the 20th. We have an update for you on Huff High School. The Huff football team lost their first game of the year. This is 4A now, 4A, this school over here in Cornelius. They lost game 1 to Northwestern, and then a couple of beatdowns in weeks 2 and 3 to Myers Park. And just recently, they went down to South Carolina and put a beating on Carolina Forest High School. That's a ways away from here, by the way. Carolina Forest High School is in Myrtle Beach. So you bring in Huff High School and you get beat down on your own field. 41-0 was the final score for Huff. They're going to be a team to watch this year in 4A. And as well as North Mecklenburg. Going to have to keep an eye on them this year as well. North Mech, tough start to the year, losing both games, but they still have a good team over there. I expect them to turn it around, and I'd like to see them turn it around. But that is some of the updates here for you in the high school football scene. We're going to talk more high school sports throughout the week. Try to get maybe some coaches, some players on the program here as well, to be able to, update you and let you know what's going on in the high school sports scene. And as always, if you know somebody who's playing high school athletics, I don't care what sport it is, we'll talk about it right here. Give me a call, 844-STUDIO-4. Shout them out. Let them know. Let the world know about the good game they have. Or if you just want to shout out and say good job, maybe a school got a win that you didn't think they'd get. Give me a call, 844-STUDIO-4. And shout out those local players and local high schools. Talking a little college football. Make sure I got my ducks in a row here. It was an interesting Saturday, man. I'm sure a lot of you, like me, were glued to your TV watching the big noon kickoff of the defending national champions who have lost quite a bit. Quite a few players to the draft and graduation, and their head coach. and some sanctions from the NCAA. Yeah, Michigan did not have an all that great time taking on Texas in the big noon kickoff there. Final score in that one was nowhere close. And I'll tell you what, I didn't expect for Michigan to be as good as they were, but definitely surprised that they weren't even able to put up a fight on Saturday afternoon. They lost that game early, quick. And, you know, Texas is a team that a lot of people have circled this year. Quinn Ewers deciding to come back was definitely massive. But, man, you put up 17 points in the second and go into halftime with a 24-3 lead in Michigan. This is on the road for Texas, in the big house. Quinn Ewers in Texas, they get it done. Michigan was a 7-point underdog at home going into that game after coming off a national title, where they did lose their quarterback, their running back, their coach. They lost a lot. Like, we're not going to overlook that. It's tough to lose that caliber of player there and retain, and your coach. Like, that's tough. So Michigan, man, are they going to drop out of the rankings this year? Everybody's got a tough schedule. It's still yet to be seen. Who here had Northern Illinois upsetting Notre Dame? Anybody? No? But that happened. The number 5 team in the country, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, they get beat in a nail-biter, 16-14 to Northern Illinois. Man. We're going to get into more college football, but also told you a little bit about Lenoir-Rhyne. They beat Bowie State 32-19 in their first game of the year. We're going to have some words here from Lenoir-Rhyne. It is LR update time. Yes, Lenoir-Rhyne update time. Here are some words from that school.
Hello, I'm Alex McCaskey, and welcome to the Bear Time 2-Minute Drill on WSIC. On September 7th, the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears defeated the Bowie State Bulldogs 32-19 to move to 1-0 on the season in their quest for a national championship. After the game, I was able to catch up with linebackers coach and recruiting coordinator Nick Vagnone to get his initial thoughts after an impressive first win of the season. So big first win in front of a lot of recruits and families. How does it feel?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, this is one heck of an environment. The people of Hickory really, really love Lenoir-Rhyne, and it shows on days like today. So just happy we could get out of here and start the season right.
Now it's time for some quick facts to the game. Quarterback Jalen Ferguson led the way with 270 passing yards, while wideout Songa Yates hauled in 109 receiving yards on the day. And running back Xavion Turner-Knox led the way with 3 total touchdowns. What are you looking to build on from what you saw today from your guys that you can take into your game next week and in the future?
I think a big focus going forward is going to be our discipline. There was too many penalties today. I'm sure Coach Tosha will address that when we get back together and recoup tomorrow for our Sunday practice. But it'll just be building off of kind of what we were able to put on tape today and getting a little bit better every day.
Well, that's all the time I have. Be sure to tune in next week, September 14th, when the Tiffin Dragons travel down from Ohio to take on the Bears as the Bears continue their quest for a national championship. And remember, fans, it's Bear time.
There is your update for you. Week 1 for Lenoir-Rhyne football. The Bears getting a win against Bowie State, 32-19. We're going to head to our halfway point here on the scoreboard. We'll talk a little more college football on the other side of the break, and then we'll get into the NASCAR Cup Series race number 1 of the playoffs. We'll be back right after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the comfy low humidity weather hangs around with a cool night on the way, and a mostly clear sky will fall down into the mid-50s. Outlying spots and farms again. and wake up to low 50s by Tuesday morning. Plenty of sunshine. We're back in the mid-80s. Low humidity, though, keeping our comfort factor up for our Tuesday. We'll start to add some extra clouds in and a low rain chance toward the end of the week, all effects of what will soon become Hurricane Francine in the Gulf. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
We're at Black Automotive. The Buick Encore GX is now at a low 0.9% for 36 months or a $3,000 rebate. Or the Buick Envista is also 0.9% for 36 months. And there's more here at Black Automotive Station.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Rev up your dreams with a bike from Tilly Harley-Davidson. Whether you're new to Harley or a seasoned pro, Tilly has the bike for you. Come experience the freedom of the ride. Feel the thrill of the road and the thunder that only a Harley can provide. Stop by Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville or go to TillyHD.com.
Attention, fellow conservative investors. What does the name Reagan mean to you? It stands for being the ultimate conservative. It also stands for the Reagan Gold Group. Do you see storm clouds approaching? The stock market hates uncertainty, and there are plenty of reasons to be concerned. High inflation, unstable debt, and economic uncertainty are just a few. You have car insurance, homeowners insurance, and life insurance. But do you have insurance for your retirement savings and your 401k? We urge all fellow conservative investors to learn about the one asset that could help ensure your nest egg doesn't crack under economic pressure. G-O-L-D, gold. Call the one name any conservative investor needs to know about. Reagan Gold Group.
800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. That's 800-296.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. A major part of running a successful sports organization is having the right timing. A team's front office has to know the right time to draft a player, the right time to make a trade, and the right time to move on from a player or coach. In our own lives, there are moments when we know it's time to do something, time to make a change, or time to switch things up. Each of us has something hanging over our heads or swirling around in our hearts. And it's time we trust God to empower us to go for it and follow what He's leading us to do. The Bible says, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. Today, let's stop making excuses. When God has made it clear, it's time. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to unpackingit.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. It was a strong start to the week as investors shopped for bargains. The Dow finished 484 points higher. That's 1.2%. The S&P was up 63, 1.1%. The Nasdaq added 194, also 1.1%. Apple has introduced a new line of products, including the new iPhone 16 that's powered by a new chip that enables it to effectively use artificial intelligence. The new iPhone also has a camera control button that lets you snap pictures and initiate video recordings. Just a month after losing a landmark ruling that it illegally dominates online search, attorneys for Google are back in court. The U.S. and a coalition of 8 states accuse Google of building up a trifecta of monopolies to lock up the technology behind website ads, effectively crushing the competition. Google denies those claims. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
We are back here on the scoreboard. 844 Studio 4. That's 844-788-3464. Talking some college football from the weekend. Yes, college football was big over the weekend, and I want to go over the updated rankings with you. How many people saw Northern Illinois winning? Not me. That is for sure. Not me. And it definitely hurt Notre Dame in the rankings. Michigan getting knocked down as well. Your top 5 schools in the country are Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Following up with Missouri, Tennessee, Penn State, Oregon, and Miami. That'd be the U. USC, Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Oklahoma, LSU, Michigan. Notre Dame drops to 18. Notre Dame was number 5. They've dropped 13 spots to number 18. Louisville, Arizona, Iowa State, Clemson, Nebraska, Boston College, and a new number 25 team in the country. That would be the Huskies of Northern Illinois. I didn't see it coming. I know you didn't see it coming. Well, maybe you did. Maybe you did. Some other games from Saturday. I'll tell you what. I feel bad for App State. I do. App State Clemson from Saturday. I really thought that Clemson, coming off that big loss in week 1 to Georgia where they got embarrassed, App State getting some love, known for having those upsets. Yeah, it wasn't close at all between Clemson and App State. You know, I pull for the upsets every now and then. I really thought that was one that we were going to see over the weekend. The final score, though, 66-20. Yeah, I knew it was going to be bad when Clemson dropped 35 in the first quarter. If they would have kept dropping 35, they would have scored, 140 points? Is that the number that I'd come up with there? I think my math is right on that one. But man, 35 points in a quarter? Whew. Poor App State, man. That was a beating. I had them winning that game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did. Embarrassing, though. My bad. Some good games coming up next week. We'll talk about them as we get farther into the season, into the week here. Number 20, Arizona will be playing number 14, Kansas State. You got LSU and South Carolina going head-to-head in a 12 o'clock kickoff. Boston College and Missouri, a couple of ranked top 25 teams there going at it. So we got some good games coming up next week as well. We'll get you prepared for them throughout the remainder of the week. I want to jump to the NFL real quick before we get into NASCAR. I think we'll save NASCAR for the final segment. Going to the NFL, just kind of talking about some of the things around the league. We already talked about the Panthers game 1 in the first segment of the show. Not the best. Not the best. It was definitely a rough opening for the Carolina Panthers, getting beat 47-10. Oh my goodness. You look at that score and you go, can it get any worse? Maybe that's the rock bottom right there. Maybe it is. But the Steelers getting it done against the Falcons. The Bears and number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. Not by any fault of Caleb Williams, but they get the win. There was a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown for the Bears in that one. That was the first time that a number 1 overall pick has won week 1 as a rookie. So number 1 overall pick, starting game 1, week 1. First time that player has gotten a win since David Carr. Yes, you heard me correctly. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's been a while. 2002 on that one. Here's a big one. My Super Bowl champion. The Cincinnati Bengals turning back into the Bungles as they lose 16-10 at home to the Patriots. Who has the Patriots doing good this year? And they have a quarterback in waiting. Drake May. Ooh, boy, don't let those Patriots come back to be a powerhouse. The Texans continue their winning ways from last year, but Anthony Richardson of the Colts really was the storyline. He completed, I believe the stat line was 8 passes. I believe it was only 8 passes that were completed by Anthony Richardson. But if you saw the highlights from the games on Sunday, you probably 9 passes. He completed 9 passes. He had a back foot falling down, guy in his face, just throw it 60 yards and hit the guy in stride. One of the greatest throws I have seen in recent memory. Anthony Richardson is one of those guys where everybody's getting compared to Patrick Mahomes, right? Is he like Patrick Mahomes? Can he do what Patrick Mahomes does? I want my player to be more like Anthony Richardson, who coincidentally also reminds me a lot of Cam Newton. Big body, strong runner, big arm. Maybe a little bit better passer than Cam. Maybe. Because, man, that 60 yards in the air, man in your face, on your back foot, dropped it in the bedbasket. That was some throw by Anthony Richardson. Texans get the win, though. The Dolphins, after Tyreek Hill gets arrested on his way to the game, he gets detained. I believe he was arrested and was released, obviously, because he scored an 80-yard touchdown. And the celebration he did with his hands behind his back, like he was getting handcuffed. Oh man, that's worth the fine that the NFL is gonna give him. Dolphins get it done over the Jaguars, who blew a lead. Man, the Jaguars blew that one. The Giants get absolutely pummeled at home by the Vikings. Daniel Jones, probably same skill level as Bryce Young right now. Not very good. Except Daniel Jones is in year 5, year 6, somewhere around there, and he's not good. Giants are going to be just as bad as the Panthers this year. The Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, never lost week 1 in the NFL. Did you know that? 5-0 as a head coach in the NFL on week 1. The Chargers roll past the Raiders. Seahawks get it done against the Broncos. Bo Nix with his first start of his career. The Cowboys beat the Browns, and I'll tell you what, the Browns, not good. Deshaun Watson, not playing good football. They paid a lot of money and sent a lot of draft picks to the Texans, who subsequently used those draft picks to get really good players. And now look at the Browns. Are they going to go back to the Browns we knew? Maybe. Buccaneers take down the Commanders, and the Lions on Sunday Night Football in overtime get it done against the Rams. What a way to start the Sunday Night Football campaign with an overtime game. And then tonight you have the Jets on the road in San Francisco taking on the 49ers. That's going to be a real good game. I'll tell you what, with Aaron Rodgers being back, this is really the first time that we can, well, we'd had it last year. Hopefully Rodgers lasts more than 3 plays, because the hype last year around the Jets was there. Everybody was excited to see what Rodgers would do with them. And then he gets the injury, and now we're just kind of like, yeah, Rodgers is back on the Jets. The Jets don't really strike fear in anybody right now. They won 7 games last year with a terrible quarterback. They should strike fear in you. That's going to be a good team this year. When we come back, we're going to get into NASCAR race number 1 of the playoffs at Atlanta. Carnage, chaos. Your points leader going into it got in an accident right away, early in the race. No stage points. Ooh. We'll have it all for you on the other side of the break. One more segment on this Monday. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the comfy low humidity weather hangs around with a cool night on the way, and a mostly clear sky will fall down into the mid-50s. Outlying spots and farms again We'll wake up to low 50s by Tuesday morning. Plenty of sunshine. We're back in the mid-80s. Low humidity, though, keeping our comfort factor up for our Tuesday. We'll start to add some extra clouds in and a low rain chance toward the end of the week. All effects of what will soon become Hurricane Francine in the Gulf. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree Live in Mooresville presents Fortune 5 in concert on Thursday, September 12th. Fortune 5 won the Battle of the Bands this past spring and now makes their debut on the Langtree stage. Event time is 6:30 p.m. with music powered by Waves Entertainment starting at 7. Grab your friends, family, and lawn chairs. Enjoy the shopping and dining options while at Langtree. Don't miss the music of Fortune 5 this Thursday at Langtree Live. This Friday is the next edition of the Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series. Downtown Statesville offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors. This week's concert features the Camel City Yacht Club, 5 musicians devoted to bringing the finest smooth rock of the 70s and 80s to you. Friday After 5 is held in downtown Statesville on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music this Friday in downtown Statesville. The WSIC gang is back at Micaiah's in Mooresville for Trivia Night Tuesday, September 17th. Grab your squad, form your team, or come play solo and join WSIC on-air personalities as we gather for a fun game of trivia. We'll see you September 17th at Micaiah's in Mooresville. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway September 20th through the 22nd for the Carolina Nationals. When the temperature cools down, the excitement heats up at the Bellagio of drag strips. Every ticket is a pit pass, giving fans unmatched access to the drivers and crews who power the NHRA's thunderous 11,000 horsepower machines to their limits. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Drum Landscape Supply is the go-to spot for anything you need for your yard. Transform your landscaping. Drum Landscape Supply has trees, flowers, natural stone, custom blended grass seed, mulch, and more. Plus, they deliver. DrumLandscapeSupply.com.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the Community Calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
And it is now the final segment here on the Scoreboard. 844 Studio 4 is the phone number. We're going to talk some NASCAR Cup Series action. Race number 1 of the playoffs at Atlanta. Remember February? Late February, like way back at the beginning of the year. 3 wide photo finish, Daniel Suarez getting the win. Well, we did not have that here at Atlanta this year. It was almost a runaway win for Joey Logano. Now, it was shaping up. By the way, Joey Logano gets the win at Atlanta in round 1, race 1 of the playoffs. Joey Logano clinches his way to round number 2 with his second win of the season. I'll tell you what, there was a point with about 5 to go. We had that caution. Well, I mean, since the All-Star break, what am I talking about? Since the Olympic break, every NASCAR Cup Series race has had a caution with at least 10 to go. That is fact. I don't know how NASCAR keeps manipulating these races. To this point, a sign, an advertisement fell onto the track to bring out the caution with 10 to go. I don't know how they're doing it anymore. NASCAR has become elite at throwing a caution late in the race. They racked it up and went green, and things got crazy after that restart. It was 3 wide all the way throughout the field. They were 3 wide for the lead, and I'm sitting there watching the race going, you've got to be kidding me. they're going to have another 3-wide photo finish, and this track is going to be hailed as the greatest track of all time. And then Noah Gragson happened. If you've been watching the show, you probably know few drivers that we just don't know what they're doing out there. They're kind of not great right now. Noah Gragson has had a really rough year, and single car spun himself. And yeah, Noah Gragson brings out the caution, forcing overtime. Overtime, you got Logano and Blaney lined up on the bottom, Suarez and Chastain up on the top, a couple of teammates bump drafting through the final green-white checker, and we get a wreck coming out of turn 4. Joey Logano gets the win, punching his way to the round of 12. Fun fact for you, had Austin Cindric not spun out at Nashville, triggering the green-white checkered, which we then had 5 of with the fuel mileage race being a thing, Joey Logano would not be in the playoffs. He would not have won a race. He would not have earned enough points throughout the year to have been in the playoffs if Cindric just doesn't wreck. But then the fuel mileage happens. Joey Logano gets the win, punches his way into the playoffs, and there you go. All you need to do is be in contention. You just got to be in the race, and you have a chance to win a championship. Well, now Joey Logano gets his second win of the season and punches his way to the round of 12. I would not be surprised if we see a 22 Joey Logano run to the championship. I don't think I gave you guys my updated champion after I completely flubbed the preseason prediction. Said it would be Kyle Busch. Man, if only there were, I don't know, some way to get Kyle into, like, Kyle Busch in the playoffs, but not in the playoffs, but Burton and Briscoe are, like, yeah, I get it. They won races, but come on. So Joey Logano gets the win. I did enjoy the Atlanta race. I like the way the track drives in terms of when they're not like stacked up against each other 3x3, when they get single file and how you set up a pass and do you dive it down to the inside and try to wrap the bottom. There were a couple of times where I saw Alex Bowman down at the bottom of the track, and I could not believe the amount of ground that he was making up almost on his own. Not completely on his own, but he would lose a car length or two down the back stretch, and then going through 3 and 4, he gained 3 spots. And I was, wow, how do you get that kind of a run through the corner? But when they were able to rip the bottom like that, they're gaining time. Or if there's traffic, the top would get the run off the corner. And if you're stuck on the bottom, when that happens, freight train's going by you. I'm warming up to this Atlanta track. I am. It's going to take me a little time. But it was an entertaining race. One of the better races, I'd say, on the season on Sunday. Not a lot of on-track incidents. I'll tell you what, though, there was that one caution in stage 2 as they were coming up on green flag pit stops. I believe they said it was a debris caution, and I don't remember them ever showing the debris. I have a feeling that NASCAR does not want any green flag stops at the new Atlanta track because of the way that they did pit road. You have to enter pit road on the backstretch and drop down to pit road speed there, go around 3 and 4 at pace, and then get to the next pit road speed, which is on the actual pit road. They threw the caution. I was like, that's fishy. They were coming up on pit stops. I have a feeling that's it, because you pit under green at Atlanta, you're going to lose 2 laps, maybe 3, the way the new configuration is. Kyle Larson, big story in this race. Running top 5 for the entire first stage, and then with about 5 to go, the car just broke loose on him in 1 and 2. He tries to correct it and almost goes head on into the fence. That was a vicious crash, and the announcers, if you were listening, Lee Diffie and I believe it was Jeff Burton who I heard. They both went, "Whoa!" at the same time, like in sync. And I did the same thing. I was like, "Oh no!" Vicious hit for Kyle Larson. He ends up collecting another playoff driver in this one, Chase Briscoe. Now, for Kyle Larson, it's not the biggest deal in the world. He went into the playoffs with the most points gained. Yes, Tyler Reddick won the regular season championship. That gave him extra bonus points going into the playoffs, but the racked up points throughout the season gave Kyle Larson, I believe going into the race, it was a 35-point advantage on the cut line. It's a good thing he had that advantage because he is now only 15 points up on the cut line, sitting 10th in points. If Kyle Larson has one more bad race this round, we could see the number one playoff driver get eliminated. That would be something, wouldn't it? This coming weekend, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Glen, Watkins Glen, for some road course racing. There are 2 road courses in the playoffs this year. Watkins Glen being the first one, and then a little bit later, we'll go back to the Charlotte Roval. We'll be going to the Charlotte Roval again next year as well, so get used to it. If you don't like the track, I'm sorry. I don't like it either, but we got to get used to it. Friday, we'll have practice, qualifying, and a race for the ARCA Menard Series at Watkins Glen. Saturday, you will have Xfinity practice and qualifying early in the morning. Xfinity qualifying is at 10 a.m. So if you're the kind of person that wants to watch that, you're going to have to wake up early. Cup Series practices at 11:30, and they go qualifying at 1. And then at 3 o'clock, it's the Mission 200 at the Glen for the Xfinity Series. Sunday, the Cup Series, go bowling at the Glen. I think Watkins Glen is 110 laps traditionally. I may be wrong on that. I know them and Sonoma both had like right around the same amount of laps. It's either 90 or 110. I think it's 110. So we'll go 110 laps around Watkins Glen on Sunday. 3 o'clock Eastern is the start time for that race. Race 2 of round 1 in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. As we wrap up the show today with just a couple of minutes left, let's go ahead, take a look at some things that happened on this day in sports history. On this day, Tom Brady becomes the first player in NFL history to start 300 regular season games as he beat the Cowboys in a home opener. 31-29. I read that wrong. Most regular season starts for an NFL player. He's got the most everything. And Tom Brady is kind of a victim of both just racking up stats because you play for so long, but also racking up the stats because he's really, really good. 2002, Randy Johnson reaches 300 strikeouts for the 5th consecutive season, extending his major league record. And one more for you. 1987, Nolan Ryan struck out his 4,500th batter. There's a lot of other things that happened on this day in history, but we are going to run out of time on the program today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in on this Monday. Glad to be able to chat with you guys about the weekend that we had in the sports world. We'll be talking more high school football, high school athletics in general throughout the week. Get you set for the week ahead in sports. During the week, we got to talk Major League Baseball as well. It's still happening, but now that it's September, it's kind of taking a back seat. There's other things going on. We'll catch you up on Major League Baseball tomorrow. Until then, I'm out of here for today. You guys have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.